Well, welcome to Doha, the capital city of the state of Qatar. It's the largest city. Over 80% of the nation's population reside here or in its surrounding suburbs. It's also the economic centre. It's big. It's really hosted athletics before. We had the World, or rather the Asian Championships here. We've had Grand Prix athletics here before. This Diamond League gets underway. 32 disciplines, staged 7 times, with the top 3 athletes being awarded the same amount of points. And of course, at the end of those 7 events, well, the top man or top woman is decreed. The temperature now at 33 degrees, and it's down from 40. We have an opportunity very shortly to see some of the best athletes in the world performing, and right at the end of that process. It's a long process. There are, what, 14 events across the summer, and of course those athletes who prevail will be awarded with the diamond and so forth. Tim Hutchins alongside me. Tim, good program in prospect, I should say, in this evening.
Yes, considering it's mid-May, Stuart, and the first really big meeting of the summer season, the international season, this is a wonderfully high-quality meeting. It's exactly what the sport of athletics needs, this Diamond League. It really does regenerate the sport. The Golden League, which went for many years, served its purpose, but the Diamond League really does bring it together well in a very easily understandable process, scoring system which is nice and easy, and incorporates the whole globe.
Well, the 400-meter hurdles is the first event. Alshkar-Keely, Cisneros of Cuba, now Karen Clement of the United States, and he of course is the world champion. He won that title in Berlin last year. He's the Olympic silver medalist too, and in very good form. 48.55 this season. Angelo Taylor, 3 Olympic gold medals, 2 in the 400-meter hurdles incidentally, one first in Sydney, again in Beijing. 47.25, that was a personal best on that occasion. Bashawn Jackson has a couple of world titles himself. He was the world champion in 2007, Olympic bronze medalist in 2008, and the world championship bronze medalist in Berlin. So he's slight compared with the rest. Mike Tinsley, he's going well at the moment. 48.46 is his season's best thus far. He's in very good form indeed. So 4 races under 48.4. Van Zyl of South Africa won this race in 2008. His time 49.03. Was 5th in the Olympic final. But a disappointment for him. Didn't reach the final in the World Championships. And Issa Phillips of Jamaica, right on the outside. He's got a season's best of 48.87. So he's in pretty good form. He's got a best of 48.05. So some of these athletes have really come to form very early in the proceedings. It's very early in the season, 14 events across the season, and so the first 3 will get the points. So it's very important to get so Alshkar-Keely of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Cisneros of Cuba, Clement of the United States, Taylor of the United States, Jackson of the United States, Tinsley of the United States, then Van Zyl of South Africa, and Issa Phillips of Jamaica, drawn in lane 8. Well, it's pretty strong wind in the back straight. It looks as though it's dropped just a little bit, so it'll be tough for stride patterns down that back straight. And I would think that with the back winds you've got in the home straight, that'll make up a little bit, but always with stride patterns it's difficult, I must say. Meeting record is Matati's at 48.29, so there's always been a pretty strong presence of the highest order in Doha here. It's a big crowd, it's absolutely packed. Well, Clement came into the sport just 2 or 3 seasons ago and is going gone very, very well, uninhibited racing. Bashawn Jackson's gone off probably just ahead. Inside him, Angelo Taylor looking very strong indeed at this stage, and probably Taylor leading as they approach 200 meters. And so Bashawn Jackson now fading just a little bit. Taylor going very strongly indeed, chased then by Karen Clement. These two, the big names, going very, very strongly indeed as they come into the home straight. But Sean Jackson still in the fighting here as we come into the straight. Clement, Taylor, and Bashawn Jackson versus Clement. It's the big two again. Bashawn Jackson recovered well in the final stages. Keron Clement coming through. Bashawn Jackson just gets it, I think. He's just going to get it. Just got it, I think. 48.82 the time. And Bashawn Jackson, the slighter of the two figures, well, the way Angelo Taylor went off to 200 metres was quite astonishing, and he obviously paid for that once he got to 3. Bashawn Jackson, between 2 and 3, was left by Taylor and by Clement, but Clement fought hard from the third lane, had the advantage of seeing Bashawn Jackson, but the world champion in 2007, well, did well there, didn't he?
Well, Bashawn Jackson, you know, if he's in with a sniff with about 100 to go, is always very, very quick, very strong over those last couple of flights when everybody else is really scrabbling for form. This little man, and he's small by the standards 400-meter hurdlers, is a very, very tough man to beat in the last 50, 70 metres. Clement had a long chat with Keron Clement yesterday in lane 3. There he goes. And he said that he's very confident that the world record will come to him, 46.78. Don't forget that's a world record of Kevin Young from way back at those Barcelona Olympics in 1992. But Clement there to the right of those 3 dark vests just doesn't quite have the acceleration of Jackson here over that barrier. Jackson pumps really hard with the arms, much the smaller of the two, but wins by a good metre. Very, very strong running indeed. Still waiting for that time to be confirmed, but that's a great scalp for him at the start of the season.
Well, Bashawn Jackson, Olympic bronze medalist, World Championship bronze medalist after winning that title in Osaka in 2007. So we've got a whole host of field events on here today. We really have. It's a magnificent array.
Well, Bashawn Jackson enjoying a victory lap while we wait for the athletes to prepare for the next event. That's the men's 100-meter heats, 2 heats coming up.
Well, Christian Cantwell in the shot. Cantwell, really, that's way over 21 meters. A big fella, very, very fast. And he's certainly leading the competition at the moment from Ralph Bartels and Reese Hoffer. Rotation. Gets under the shot quite well. I mean, this is a man who's capable of 22 meters or more. Fine, yeah, he likes that, doesn't he? Very quick, 21.82. Well, that extends his lead. 3 throws over 21.30. That's not bad, is it? World class in every sense. Hoffer's there. So is the Olympic champion there. It's a very, very strong field indeed. Majewski of Poland towers over everyone in the hotel. He's right in the center of your shot right now. He's a big, big man. Won the Olympic title. And these, when you looked at the lineup of this shot competition, there's Hoffer, who holds the championship best actually here at 21.64. Well, Hoffer, I saw him in the Olympics and the World Championships. There's a little bit of a problem with consistency. But, now this fella is a big, big man. Majewski, linear technique. Really nice to see the linear technique. It's so much more consistent, and that's not going to take the lead certainly here. Gets underneath it. There's far more consistent. Good reverse at the end. Didn't quite get behind. You can see the expression on his face there. But it is a far more consistent technique. Okay, the World Championship went to the rotators, but the last 2 Olympic golds went to a linear technique. So you take your bets there.
It's an interesting one, though, isn't it, Stuart? If you look at the 10 longest puts of all time in the shot, how many of them are from rotators, how many are linear throwers?
I think certainly the potential of the rotation is greater in terms of absolute distance, because the momentum you can achieve is quite considerable. But Christian Cantwell is a very, very consistent man. I had breakfast with him the other day. I moved around a couple of chairs. He's a big fella as well. And he's so consistent, having said what I've said. So 21.32, 21.63, 21.82. Now then.
Well, there is one, Angelo Taylor, clearly quite still recovering from that 400-meter hurdles. Taylor finishing down in 4th place with 49.66. That winning time, by the way, for Bershon Jackson. I'm sure we'll bring up the full card for you shortly, but it's 48.66 from Jackson, winning by, well, from Karen Clements, 48.82, with Van Zyl of South Africa making it into the first 3 as well. It's a very, very warm evening, about 40 degrees earlier in the day. It's gradually been dropping over the last hour and a half, the last couple of hours. And it's down to about 32 at the moment. There was a very, very strong breeze across the arena behind the runners down the home straights. So it would have been in the face of the runners on the back straight. And indeed, there is still quite a breeze over there. They were a little bit sheltered here in our commentary position right above the finish line. So it's not ideal conditions just yet. Certainly that wind on the back straight will have affected, for example, the 400-meter hurdlers here. Bershon Jackson amongst them.
Well, certainly we are seeing in the commentary position pictures to Al Jazeera, so we apologize if we've talked across pictures just a little bit thus far. We're doing our best to get back on track, and that track, as Tim said, is the first heat of the men's 100 meters.
Well, always good confidence boost to start your season with a strong performance. Of course, a lot of the American athletes on the collegiate circuit and other North American meetings have got a month or so of outdoor athletics under their belts already. It's a very early start to the season they have in North America, and it does give them the jump on much of the rest of the world. The Southern Hemisphere athletes, of course, South Africans and Australians, also well ahead of the game. It's usually the Europeans who they catch up through May and going into June. Well, the first of 2 heats now in the men's 100 metres. The first 3 in each heat will go through to the final, which is in an hour and a half or so's time. Simone Collio, the Italian, he goes in lane 7, the 30-year-old. Set an Italian national record for 60 metres winter before last. And a man who's in pretty good form considering his age. Just give you that lineup from the far side. You can see Clark there, he goes in lane 4, but while lane 1 is empty, Yahya Habib of Saudi Arabia goes in lane 2. Second of the World Youth Championships back in 2003, but it hasn't really progressed, the 24-year-old. His personal best, 10.28. Bilal Al-Salfa of the United Arab Emirates goes in lane 3. Then Ron Clark, there he is in the dark strip. He goes in lane 4, and somewhat bizarrely wearing gloves in both hands, I think. There's Habib in the green. Bilal Al-Salfa in 3, Clark in 4, the Jamaican. We saw Travis Paget goes in 5. Michael Frater in 6, and Simone Collio in lane 7. Just 6 athletes out there. Only 6 in the second heat, so we're just eliminating 4 athletes from these 2 heats. But so often, of course, in the sprints, athletes go better in a second race with a gap of an hour or an hour and a half. So here we go then, once again. First of 2 heats in the men's 100 metres. The first 3 go through by right. Habib in 2, Al-Salfa in 3, Lerone Clark in 4, Paget in 5. He won here last year. Frater in 6 for Jamaica. Collio in lane 7 in the yellow nearest the camera. Well, away they go. And a pretty good start there from Lerone Clark. Clark going well at the moment. Coming through on the near side is Frater. Frater and Clark it is, but Clark, I think, got the better start and is very, very tight at the line there. I think Frater just taking that one maybe by the tiniest margin. And look at the time, 9.96. The wind behind them, well, I mentioned it was strong, plus 2.9. So that time invalidated for a record or personal best purposes, but nonetheless 9.96 seconds indicates very, very crisp sprinting there from Michael Frater, the 27-year-old Jamaican. He was 6th in the Olympics in Beijing in 9.97. That, unfortunately, that time won't count for a new personal best, even if it is confirmed, because of the strength of the wind.
Yeah, Clark, the Jamaican, in that fourth lane, third from the right of your shot, comes through very strongly. So does Frater on the near side. Frater finishes a little bit more momentum, doesn't he? And he gets through. But those two very, very strong contenders, not really flat out. So 9.97 for Michael Frater.
Yeah, and sorry, Stuart, good sprinting there from Clark, 9.98 in second place, and Collio makes it through as well as one of those three automatic qualifiers with 10.11, the Italian. It's Travis Paget, the man who won this meeting last year, who has to sit out and see if he'll go through as the fastest loser. His time in fourth place, 10.12. Well, there's the scene. It's good conditions for some of the throwers. The discus, women's discus competition features a very, very strong field, including the Olympic champion.
Yeah, it's very interesting indeed to see how this competition unfolds, because Perkovic of Croatia in third place overall with a throw of 62 meters and 33 centimeters. This competition finished some time ago, and we're just going to show you the third and second and first place. And Danny Samuels, here's the the world champion, I should say, well down in the Olympics, but came through to win the Olympic title, to get second place here. And so often in the past, the Cubans have featured in this discus competition, and so they did here as well. Barrios, who was the Olympic silver medalist, we'll see her in a moment. That's just another look at the Olympic champion, or the world champion. Big throw, 64 meters and 67. This is Yarelis Barrios, short and stocky, but look at that discus fly. And that's way out at 64 meters and 90. She's very fast in the circle. The throwing arm always active, and those feet very, very quick. Delays that arm just a bit, but it doesn't lose its activity, and the end result is a winning throw at 64.90. Well, there you have it. So Barrios of Cuba, from Samuels of Australia, and Perkovic of Croatia. Well, we go down to the start of Heat 2. You've got that lineup on your screen, I hope, right now. Roberto Donati of Italy in 1, Said Nduri of Norway in 3, I should say in lane 2 and 3, lane 1 not being used. Then Asafa Powell of Jamaica in lane 4. But let's go through them one at a time. Donati, the Italian, in the World Championship 4x1 for Italy. They were 4th in that championship. He's got a best of 10.34, so he's going to need a lot to find here, I would think.
Well, there is big man Cantwell, who is being interviewed by local television. Cantwell with that shot put competition, winning with 21 meters 82. It is a world lead. It's a new meeting record from Cantwell. He did it twice in lanes 3 and lane 4. In rounds 3 and round 4. And he built up through the early rounds too. He opened with a 21.32, then a 21.63, then a brace of 21.82 efforts. He won by well, some 68 centimeters from Ralph Bartels, who, the German, having a great competition as well with 21.14, and Reese Hoffer 21 meters exactly, came in his second round after Bartels' opening effort being his best.
Well, we've caught up with a lineup on our screen anyway of Samuel Francis of Qatar in the 7th lane. Donati, we did see him in lane 2. Said Nduri in 3, the Norwegian. Asafa Powell in lane 4. Ray Edwards of the United States in 5. Nestor Carter, Jamaica in 6. And then Samuel Francis in lane 7. Well, Asafa Powell, no performance this year, but remember it was here he ran 9.77. He's the 3rd fastest ever man at 9.72. 10 seconds nowhere near the barrier for these boys now. Bolton, Tyson and Gay, the only two to have run faster than this man in the world. It's the first 3 plus the 2 fastest losers that go through to the final. Powell in the yellow stripe. Well, Powell gets a very good start indeed, so does Nesta Carter of Jamaica, and here comes Asafa Powell, followed by Saidin Duri. Powell going brilliantly at the moment, and Powell comes through very strongly. Saidin Duri in second place, and the time 9.75. 9.75 for Asafa Powell. 9.75 for Asafa Powell. And that's the fastest in the world this year, clearly. Ivory Williams of the United States. Ivory Williams of the United States was the leader at 9.95, but this is a different class, isn't it? Just looking at my screen, I've got a slow motion on it at the moment, and Asafa Powell got away brilliantly. Saidin Duri went well there too.
Yes, he did, but Powell, as ever, looking in tremendous form. Beautiful high knee lift, lovely and relaxed. He's a big, big man. He moves so well. Almost kissing the track there with that tiptoe stride of his. 9.75 for Powell there. Fabulous sprinting. And the wind at 2.6, just over the limit as it was in the first race. But I tell you what, if the wind settles a little bit and we can drop it down to +2 exactly or less, we might well see somebody go a long way under 10 seconds and legally here tonight in the final. Well, the next event on the track is the women's 100-meter hurdles, and that's an absolutely loaded field, as is the case in so many disciplines here tonight. Amongst them the freshly crowned Lolo Jones from the World Indoor Championships here in Doha just a couple of months ago. The American retaining her title in the Aspire Dome, which is just a few kilometers away from this outdoor arena at the Qatar Sports Club.
We'll have to apologise just for the moment because we still have the Al Jazeera coverage, and our pictures are not matching to what's going on out there, so I do apologise if our commentary seems somewhat disjointed at the moment. We'll do our very best to commentate live on proceedings, because the pictures are just not the pictures that we are expecting to see.
Well, we believe that you at home are getting the right pictures, but we aren't here in the commentary booth. Can you believe? Certain irony to that, but we'll try and work out those bugs in the system. Certainly the principal happenings in the stadium are continuing at women's 100-meter hurdles, due off at half past the hour, so a few minutes yet. Well, that's Bartels, who in his very first effort went out to 21.14. It was a fabulous effort and his best of the competition. Every one of his further 3 efforts was beyond 20 metres, but didn't broach the 21-metre barrier. And the big German Bartels ending up in second place, but ahead of Reese Hoffer, who himself went out to 21 metres exactly tonight. Cantwell, of course, taking the victory, as we've already told you. Took the bronze medal in the World Indoors here. A couple of months ago did Bartels. Here is Cantwell, though. As you can see, his third round effort there, going out to 21 metres 82. It was after those 2 openers, and he takes maximum points. This opening Diamond League meeting of 14 meetings. Now, you might have noticed there are 15 days covered by the Diamond League Series this summer. That's because the London meeting covers 2 days. 21.82 it was indeed for Cantwell. The Olympic silver medalist. I'm sure he'd swap victory after victory in between Olympiads for one place batter in Beijing. They are massive lads. They've been strolling around the hotel the last couple of days, but you can't really miss them. Majewski, I think, probably the biggest of all of them, the Polish Olympic champion, but he didn't have a great night tonight. Down in 5th place, Majewski, with 20.39. Lacey Janssen then in the pole vault, the American. It's an outdoor best of 4 meters 58 does Janssen. Cleared 4:30 at her third attempt tonight. Already has one failure at this height, 4 meters 45. I can tell you that 3 athletes have gone clear. Golubchikova and Spiegelberg of Russia and Germany respectively went over it first time, and Kyriakopoulou of Greece clearing it at the second attempt. Jana Bolnova has had a couple of failures. Tachnikova and Gachiev also have a failure at this height, as does Anna Rogovsky, the world champion from Berlin last summer. She will go next. The second attempt at this height. And this is the second attempt for Janssen. Actually, her indoor PB significantly better than her outdoor PB. She's a 466 vaulter out indoors. No, way off the mark there as well. Two athletes in trouble here. Just looking across, they're at the far end of the stadium from us. I think they are fairly exposed to the breeze that comes in at the far end of the stand, near where the 100-meter runners will be climbing into their blocks, and therefore it may be giving them problems over in the vault. We really are bizarrely sheltered here in our comfy position above the finish line, while on the back straight and around most of the arena the flags are blowing very healthily indeed.
Next event on the track is the women's 100-meter hurdles, which we'll bring you up to date with in a moment. It's a good race too. We've got everyone who's anyone in this race as well. I mean, this is, when you look at the start list for this meeting, this first meeting of the new Diamond League Series, then it really is mouth-watering.
Well, it is, Stuart, and of course they're going to have a tailwind behind them here tonight. The world lead is 12.61, the fastest time in the world this year, by one wonderfully named Queen Harrison. That was in Philadelphia in the States on the 24th of April. So there is Delarine Ennis London, the Jamaican 35-year-old, still going strong. Ennis London, 12.95 this year. She goes in lane 2. Perdita Felicien, former world champion back in 2003, the Canadian, goes in lane 3. World indoor champion the following year too, Felicien. Very consistent. Virginia Powell is the 26-year-old American. She goes in lane 5, lane 4 rather. Only 5th at the World Indoors. A couple of months back here in Doha. Beside her, Lolo Jones, who retained her indoor title, took gold here 8 weeks ago in Doha. The American has a best of 12.68 this year, and probably starts as favourite in this field on recent form. There is Priscilla Lopez-Schleep of Canada. Very powerfully built, the Olympic bronze medalist from Beijing, the silver medalist from Berlin last summer. Danielle Carruthers goes in lane 7. Not much experience in major international championships, but she's a 12.5 sprint hurdler at her best, already 12.85 this year. And then in lane 8, completing the lineup, Dawn Harper, of course, the Olympic champion from Beijing, the American, celebrating her 26th birthday just yesterday, did Dawn Harper. No form yet from her, though, this season. So this is an astonishingly packed field, probably the top lineup in the entire meeting, actually, if you go through the CV of each athlete. When you look at Felicien in 3, Powell in 4, Jones in 5, Lopez-Schleep in 6, and Dawn Harper in lane 8, the Olympic champion. Well, the meeting record held by Priscilla Lopez-Schleep. She's in lane 6 last year, winning with 12.52. But will the wind have settled enough to let these women complete their race in legal wind conditions? I doubt it somehow. If those two 100-meter races a few minutes ago, anything to go by. Remember, 2.9 and 2.6 the wind speeds behind them in the two heats. Heat 1 and Heat 2 respectively. So into their blocks then. A lot of noise in the arena. An awful lot of noise in the arena. Lolo Jones in 5, remember. In such good form indoors. Looking to build on that here as the outdoor season kicks off in earnest. First to rise there, probably Lopez Sleep, third from left. Lopez Sleep going very well at the moment, also going well on the far side is Padissa Felicien. But here comes Ginny Powell. Ginny Powell looking strong, and it's Lolo Jones there at the line. Lolo Jones over the last couple of flights, moving through and taking that one. The winning time, 12.62 for Lolo Jones. The wind plus 2.7, as you can probably see on your screens. So again, the wind invalidating the performance for ranking list purposes, but nonetheless, very, very crisp sprint hurdling from Lolo Jones, and a lovely big smile there from Jones. Well, that's Olympic season now, a distant memory, when she finished only 7th in Beijing. She hit the 9th hurdle when leading at the Olympic Games in the Bird's Nest, and that was after a personal best in her semi-final, which still stands. And the indoor circuit either side of that Olympic performance, she's gone wonderfully well in the World Championships with those 2 world titles. But Stuart, that's a very, very encouraging start to her summer season.
It certainly is. I mean, she won the world indoor title here in Doha. She clearly likes it here. You're right that she had problems in the Olympic Games. She was down to win that. And certainly at this stage, Virginia Crawford of the United States was going very well. Lolo coming through on the near side very strongly in that finish. And that was a very strong finish indeed. Certainly it looked to me as though Ginny Crawford, tall, powerful athlete, just faded a little bit in the final stages. She may have got into 3rd place. We'll check on that in a moment. But Lolo, that'll do her a lot of good for her confidence. So remember her world indoor titles, she certainly managed that over the shorter distance, and it's a clear win on this occasion. What a last 20 metres or so from Lolo Jones.
Yes, the time confirmed at 12.63 from Lopez Sleep on 12.67 with Virginia Powell Crawford, actually, to give her full name now that she's been married. 12.70. The whole field going a long, long way under 13 seconds, as you'd expect in these gusty conditions. But always great for confidence. Early season, you can bang out a really big, solid performance, be it in a run, a jump or a throw. It gives you enormous confidence, and that just boosts you in your training as you go into the first half of the summer.
Nova and the pole vault going over to the left of our commentary position as we look down. The high jump has started. It's a very, very strong field indeed, including Blanka Vlasic of Croatia. And with the shot and discus finished now, there's still an awful lot of field to go. We've got a triple jump, a high jump I've mentioned. We've got a women's javelin, and we've got the very best that we can gather together, actually. No Isimbayeva, incidentally, in the pole vault. She's taking a break. Nothing to read into that, I'm told. It's just that she needs a break going into this season. There are 7 attempts at each of these disciplines, and the first 3 get points. And then at the end of the 7 disciplines, the maximum point will give the win and the $40,000. There's an awful lot of prizes on offer at the end of the season, but it's a long, long season. It really is. Jansen in the vault. This clearance, but it's early days. 4:45. We're used to 460s, 70s, and 480s these days in the vault, but this is early days. I was going to say warm up, but the temperature's around about 33 degrees still here. Very, very humid and hot.
Well, that I think is a replay of Jansen's 3rd term clearance at 4.30 meters. She has recorded 2 failures at 4:45, according to our computers at the moment. Yes, and this is Gadchiev. Going for her 3rd attempt at 4:45. Confusing these pictures because they don't appear to match with our monitors, our computers. They give us a card for each of these field events. So once again, apologies for the bugs in the works here tonight. Perhaps to be expected. There was talk earlier of an awful lot of sand and sandstorm, which has created a real haze over the city throughout the day, and it does make you wonder if a bit's got into the works. Up in Europe, we're used to water getting the works. Down here, it's sand. Did indeed fail her third attempt at 4:45, putting her down in 8th place. Well, confirmation there of the win for Lola Jones, 12.63 from Lopez Schliep's 12.67, with Ginny Powell down on 12.70, but the place time is fantastic too. 12.73 for fourth place by Felicien Carruthers, 12.74. Ennis London, 12.75 in fourth, fifth and sixth respectively. Well, the next event on the track is the men's 800 metres. It's a fabulous lineup with the man who's really on fire at the moment, David Rudisha of Kenya, in the lineup. And chatting to him yesterday, he said he's looking forward to going quicker than his personal best this year, which makes him the fourth fastest man ever. That was 1:42.01 last year. As this pole vault continues, Kiriakopu going there for her first attempt at 4:55 over on the far end of the arena. But the athletes just finishing stripping down in preparation for this men's 800 metres in front of us. Beleni Malautsi, the South African, who ran that storming race last year in the 800 metres in Berlin, that World Championship title. One of the wonderful races to watch, with Malautsi so experienced and utilising every bit of that experience to control the race. Wound it up through the second lap. They let him lead the first lap, then he gradually accelerated and continued to do so as each little section of the second lap in that 800 picked up. So he accelerated further and further, and it's very, very hard to get past somebody who is accelerating gradually, because you imagine you have to double accelerate, so to speak, and when you're up against somebody who's run 1:42 already, like Malautsi, that's near impossible. And he really did outwit a very, very strong field to take a glorious goal for the South Africans. Now, there is talk tonight of this 800 metres being very, very fast indeed. Officially, the pacemaker's due to go out in 50 seconds exactly, but discussions around the hotel foyer today suggesting that perhaps the pacemaker's going to go out in under 49 seconds, with Rudisha just keen to test himself and see what he can do. As we go back to the pole vault, I'm not quite sure which pictures you're seeing at home, so I do apologise. Tatjana Polnova there, after two failures at 4:45, saving up the final effort and going clear at 4:55. So breathes a big sigh of relief, and ironically takes the lead there, Polnova, the first athlete over 4:55 in that women's vault.
Well, certainly the 800 metres. We've got Dersch of Sweden, Lopez of Cuba, Michael Rimmer of Great Britain. He goes in this race. Malautsi goes here as well, the world champion. Bala of Qatar, Lalou of Morocco, Kiprop of Kenya, the Olympic silver medalist at 1500, Driosh of Qatar, Ismail of Sudan, he's only 18, Tangui of Kenya is only 19. He's got to set the pace, and as Tim was saying, that it's down officially as 50, but we understand that Rudisha has asked for something sub 49, and he says this is a tryout. It's I just want to see how I can survive in all of this, and we shall certainly see. But Dersch on the inside, best of 1:45.45. It's inside him, or next to him, is Lopez of Cuba. There's a 1:43.07 man. That was 2008. World Championship finalist last year in the red. And there's Michael Rimmer, started the season well, 1:46.29. That was in Dhaka on the 24th of April. Spoke to him this morning. He's in good form, he says. Doesn't mind about the race, needs to get in amongst it. Lani Madlautsi of South Africa, the world champion from 2009 from Berlin. He's there. Won 1:45.41 season's best thus far. Bala of Qatar. Next to Lalou. Lalou, 5th at the World Championship final. He went in the 1500 metres in the World Indoor Championships this year. He was 5th in that. And then you've got the Kiprop. He's got a best of 1:43.17. That was here in Doha in May last year. So he likes it here too. They love the temperature, they really do. Drioche of Qatar, former Moroccan. This is Ismail of Sudan, 2018. Just outside 150 we've got. Now this is the fella, David Rudisha, personal best 1:42.01. He broke Sami Koskai's 25-year-old record last season. That record stood since 1984. He is in terrific. He's the fastest man. 1:43.15 in Australia early on this year, but 45.50 at 400 metres. So when he asks for 49, then he's well within himself. He really does want to have a go at this. He really does. And Tanguy, who's been taken across to live and to train with Rudisha, has given the job of the pacemaker here. They've been asked to take them to 600 metres in 76, which is very, very quick indeed. And if they were able to do that, well, who knows? But certainly the first 400 metres will tell us. The wind has dropped in the back straight, thankfully. It was quite blustery early on. And really, we expected these races to be a little bit slower. There they go. So the men's 800 metres underway. Well, just looking as they go into the back straight, the pacemaker really just now starting to move into the frame, now accelerating into the back. Malaudzi's in 2nd place, Kiprop in 3rd place, and then behind him is Rudisha, and Rudisha's now in the place he wanted to be in 2nd place. That looks like Kiprop in 3rd, Malaudzi in 4th, as they come to about 300 metres. Well, we'll have a look at this. It's certainly they've accelerated into this past 300 metres, and Rudisha nice and comfortable in 2nd place. Kiprop in 3rd place, Malaudzi in 4th, 49.31, so just outside what they wanted, but it's still very, very quick indeed.
It's very fast indeed, and Rudisha had to work hard around that 2nd bend just to get up with the pacemaker, but he's got Kiprop in right behind him. Malaudzi, the world champion, in 3rd place, just cruising along behind. They've all gone a little bit too quick, in my opinion. Which of them can last out? Or maybe it'll be somebody from further back who'll come through to it in this sort of rather strange race.
Well, 200 metres to go. Rudisha leads. The Cuban coming strongly. Jaime Lopez in 4th place at the moment. Malaudzi in 3rd place, the champion from last season. Look at this. Rudisha so tall, so strong, so elegant. Now Kiprop right on his shoulder. He's a 1:43 man. Now what can he do coming into the straight here? And Lopez coming strongly. Right on the outside. Rudisha gets it. Kiprop in 2nd place. And that was a very, very fine run. Lalou coming through strongly to take 3rd place. And the time 1:43.00. And that is a meeting record. Takes Kaki's record, which he set in May last year. Well, it almost went to the form book, but that does indicate that this man, Rudisha, is a very, very strong contender. He was disappointing in the World Championships. Didn't make it through. He said it was very, very cold.
Well, 1:43 dead there for Rudisha is confirmed. I reckon he went through 400 metres in about 49.6, just a couple of strides behind the pacemaker's 49.3. It was too quick, no doubt about it. There really isn't much sense in going out any quicker than around 50 seconds flat, even for athletes of his calibre. If you work out the way you should spread your energies, He does drive on wonderfully well there to the line. I think he saved a little bit down the home straight. He could probably have been further ahead of them with a couple of hundred to go, but great running, great results behind David Rudisha there. Asbel Kiprot, 1:43.45 in second place. Lalou, good running from the Moroccan, 1:43.71 in third. But it was indeed the fastest time in the world this year, and as Stewart said, a meeting record there for Rudisha with that 1:43.00. 53.69 the second lap time was given. We can say that Rudisha's second lap was a bit quicker than that, because that, of course, was the pacemaker going through the 400-meter point. There's the world champion, Anna Rogowska, in the pole vault, looking somewhat aggressive and determined here. Rogowska open at 4:45 with a failure. This 4:55 and nowhere near it. And still only Tatiana Polnova, the Russian, has gone clear at this height. It is a world-leading performance from Polnova, that first-time clearance at this height, but it's troubling everybody else. And just looking up at the far end of the stadium, the wind has dropped a little bit. Ironically, the flags, if anywhere, are strongest around the vaulters on that second bend, the far bend from where we are at the moment. There's no sign of it just there around Rogowska and her competitors, her fellow competitors. Just looking to see if there's any ribbon that can give an indication of the wind conditions actually down near the bed where they're vaulting. They are reasonably well sheltered. The stands over that far side are about 15 seats high. So back to the drawing board, at least back to competitive mode at this height for a lot of those vaulters. 4:55 has been failed now by no less than 6 other athletes. Polnova has gone clear. Katalin Hingst of Germany out of the competition already with 3 failures at 4:30. That 800 metres living up to its billing, with David Rudisha looking as strong as ever as he strode down the home straight there. Indeed, some respected pundits in the sport believing this is the man who can take the world record down below 1 minute 41 seconds. Only 3 men have ever gone below 1:42. Don't let's forget. And Rudisha is the number 4 on the all-time list. Well, those 3 men who have gone under 1:42, just in case some of you are trying to figure it out. It wasn't Kip Keita, Sebastian Coe, and Joachim Cruz, of course, the '84 Olympic champion. But this might be the man to topple those 3, just to leapfrog them on the world rankings. David Rudisha, what a talent he is. The next event on the track, the women's 200 metres. Still very, very warm and sticky here as the wind is dropping, so it appears to be getting hotter here in the stands, if anything. All the athletes on the in the next event, the women's 200 metres, not due off for a little while just yet. Glancing over there, they are now stripped off and just about ready. What a strong field it is once again in this women's 200 metres.
Yeah, the high jump is still at 1:85. They go up to 1:89 just to bring you up to date with just to the right of our commentary box. It is a very, very good 200 metres that you were saying, Tim, and with Karen Stewart in the 4th lane, it's a very, very good lane indeed. Second in the Olympics and over 100 metres, and then in the World Championships too.
Well, there's the lineup for the women's 200 metres. As you can see, the 2 Jamaicans there in lanes 4 and 5. Karen Stewart and Sharon Simpson shared the Olympic silver medal over 100 metres almost 2 years ago in the Olympic Games in Beijing. And they start much as favourites here. That is Natalie Knight, the 23-year-old American, one of two Knights in this race. Bianca Knight goes 2 lanes outside her. 23.3 this year, but she's a 22.8 sprinter at her best. Has to contend with that tight inside lane, does Natalie Knight. Sherry-Ann Brooks of Jamaica goes outside her in lane 2. Silver medalist in the sprint relay at the World Championships a couple of years ago. But 4th in the world indoor 60 metres here in Doha just a couple of months ago. So watch Brooks in 2. Bianca Knight, there she is, the 21-year-old. She is the world junior record holder for 200 metres indoors. Not often that world junior records indoors come to mind, but 22.40 she ran a couple of years ago, Bianca Knight. Caron Stewart of Jamaica, as I said, the Olympic silver medalist, shared that 100 metre silver with Sharon Simpson, a compatriot outsider. She's a 21.99 athlete outdoors as Caron Stewart. She's in 4 and she'll be chasing Sharon Simpson, who has run 22 seconds exactly. They're very, very evenly matched on paper. And with the Stewart in 4 and Simpson in 5, this is a wonderful contest in prospect. Didn't have a great season last year, though, Sharon Simpson. There's Sidonia Mothersill for the Cayman Islands. Mothersill, an Olympic finalist at this distance in Beijing. Did finish in 8th place in the Bird's Nest. And then a semi-finalist last year at the half lap in Berlin. Yulia Kushina of Russia, out in lane 7. An Olympic gold medalist in the sprint relay, the 27-year-old. And quite useful over this distance. She's the European Championship silver medalist in 200 metres. Took that silver in Gothenburg, 4 years ago now. And of course the European Championships coming up this summer in Barcelona in late July. And Anisha McLaughlin completes the lineup there, the Jamaican in lane 8. Was World Youth Champion in 2003, but the world seems to have passed her by. She got a World Junior silver medal in 2004, and then a senior career has never really arrived. So that lineup once again: Natalie Knight in 1, Sherry-Ann Brooks in 2, Bianca Knight of the USA in 3, then Caron Stewart in 4 and Sharon Simpson in 5. Both those Jamaicans in very, very good form. Sidonia Mothersill in 6, Yulia Kushina in 7, Anisha McLaughlin in lane 8. The fastest time in the world this year, 22.32 by Veronica Campbell-Brown back in mid-April. Well, away they go, and very quickly into a running there. Out in lane 5 is Sharon Simpson. Simpson moving well inside her. Caron Stewart in the 2 purple vests there send her a picture. 4th from right is Caron Stewart, as Stewart leads marginally at the moment. There's some work to be done here by Sharon Simpson. Going well too in lane 2 is Sherry-Ann Brooks, but this is great running from Caron Stewart. She's easing away now as Simpson ties up. Very, very tight for 2nd place. Caron Stewart takes it. 22.34, a new meeting record there for the Jamaican in lane 4. Sharon Simpson, I think, just did hang on to 2nd spot in lane 5, with Mothersill outside her in lane 6, taking 3rd place, but really putting pressure on the 2nd of the Jamaicans. Plus 3 metres per second, though, look, the wind speed. It's increased, if anything, around that top bend and down the home straight. What a shame that it's stayed so blustery here in Doha, because there's some beautiful performances being unleashed here on what is a pretty good crowd for Doha.
Well, certainly Caron Stewart has proved herself both at 100 and 200 metres, and in the relays, of course, she's very much part of that relay squad. Just looking over the far side, got away terrifically well, didn't she? Sharon Simpson of Jamaica probably got the better start, and it was right off the bend when Caron Stewart started to close her down. Stewart had the better transition, that's just floating off the bend onto the inside, and Caron Stewart takes over the lead at this stage. And Sharon Simpson, then there's a little bit of pressure in the shoulders, you can see that. Look in lane 2, you've got Sherry-Ann Brooks of Jamaica as well, going very strongly, just tying up a little bit. Unlike Caron Stewart, it comes through very, very strongly indeed. Caron Stewart gets there, and in 2nd place Sharon Simpson. So it's a very, very good, strong run, this. Pity about the wind speed. It's coming and going, that wind. I'm just looking up, the flags are quite strong again now, but that was a very, very fine run indeed. And tight for 3rd place indeed, but certainly Mothersill looked as though she came through very strongly there in the final stages. Sidonia Mothersill of the Cayman Islands. There's another look of Caron Stewart, Tim. She's very relaxed in the show. Look at that, perfect, beautiful sprinting action. Her hips are high, she's on her toes, and really that's a perfect piece of sprinting.
Well, confirmation of that win for Stewart. 22:34. She's run a legal 22:57 this year, which is probably closer to what that time would have been. Sharon Simpson 22:64, a couple of meters down, and Mother still there in third place, 22:66. The first 5 athletes home breaking 23 seconds with that strong following wind. And the points there, of course, for the Diamond League, 4-2-1 for the first 3 in that discipline, as in all others tonight.
Well, the high jump bar at 185. I mentioned to you before, you've got Blanka Vlasic, there she is, the tall figure, silver medalist in the World Championships back in 2005. It all went well until the Olympic Games when she took the silver medal. And really, that was the only blip, but it's a big blip, isn't it, really, when you think about it. 2 world titles, one in 2007 and 2009, retained her title in Berlin. Silver medalist in the Olympics. Pole vault certainly still going strong. Radowska is next to go, holds the meeting record at 4:63. So 4:55 the bar at the moment, so that's a good start. Radowska, well, Isambayeva, let me just repeat, she's having a bit of a break. She's not coming into this early part of the season. She says she wants a rest. I guess they're working on some technique, I would think. Coach Petrov he's a perfectionist, and they'll be working on things. They need to get her beyond 5 meters again. She hasn't done that for a while. And when you develop technique, all of these vaulters, when they develop technique, go back 2 steps and forward 1 until they get it right, and then forward 3. So it's a second time success at 4:55. Very fast and furious here, as you can probably tell there. That was Golubchikova of Russia, second failure. But there's the result of the men's 800 meters. David Rudisha, 1:43, a world leader. Kiprop, 1:43.45, and Lalu coming through into third, 1:43.71. There you have the rest of the finishers. The next event on the track. There's the diamond race standings at the moment. 4 points, 2 points, 1 point. That's how it'll go. Rudisha from Kiprop from Lalu. They have 7 opportunities during the season, and only the first 3 get points. And then in the final, there are 2 finals really, Brussels and Zurich, and they then get double points for that. So there's no Usain Bolt here tonight, but he can come into the final. That's when he will meet Tyson Gay. That'll be in Brussels. And we can't wait for that, but that's right at the end of the season. Let's not go too far forward.
Well, this height 4:45 proving less of a barrier to some of these ladies at the second attempt. No less than 4 of them have cleared it at the second try. Kyriakopoulou of Greece amongst them, Tachnikova as well, the Czech Silke Spiegelberg, and the American Lacey Johnson, all going clear. And all those performances, indeed, 6 women over 4:55 now, setting or equaling the world-leading performance for this season. So encouraging stuff in the vault. And I'm just looking to see if it's because the wind might have eased back and improved conditions. I don't think it has down there. It's still very windy at the far end of the arena. Anna Rogovska, by the way, cleared that 4:55 height at the first attempt, so the world champion very much back in the thick of it.
Well, the triple jump over on the far side of the stadium. Betanzos of Cuba. The lead by Levan Sands at the moment, 16 meters and 78. Balkiewicz, 16:57. Randy Lewis, 16:17. Ghani, South Africa, 15:34. Shrembri, Geralt and Capello all have failed their jumps. Only 4 rounds, incidentally, in the Diamond League. A big adjustment. That looked as though it was well over the board, so that won't count. The world leading mark is there for you to see. That world leading mark is 17 meters 20 by Gregorio of Brazil. Well, the last 4 jumpers, no jumps in that competition.
Well, the next event on the track is the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase. There was a meeting record here last year. That meeting record standing at 7:58. Conditions we can see from that 800 meter time, Stuart, are good for middle distance racing.
Yeah, Ramalefi, the South African, right on the top there, is the world leader, actually. This is really the first proper race of the season. And you've got some very, very fine athletes. You've got the Olympic champion, the world champion. You've got the world silver medalist, the Olympic silver medalist. The pace is David Langat and Patrick Langat. We're hoping to get to 1,000 in, 2:38, and then 2,000 in 5:18. That's a 2:40 1,000. Matilong, he's had a good series of competitions, World Championship silver medalist last year. He will surely feature in this. Olympic bronze medalist, always there or thereabouts in these competitions, this man. Kemboy, that's Ezekiel Kemboy. He holds the meeting record set here in Doha at 7:58.85. And the pace that they've set themselves is an 8-minute pace, so it's going to be a real charge in the end. If you say that one event is dominated by a country, well, you've got to say the Kenyans have dominated over the years. They really have. Kipruto is there, the Olympic champion, Rimin Kipruto. They're all here. Koech is there. Paul Koech, Olympic bronze medalist in 2004. Anyone who is anyone is here. Kiptum just getting across the line there. But this, Tim, is a very, very fine lineup indeed.
Well, it is, and you just sort of wonder who's going to take it on here tonight, who's going to really push it on through the final third of the race. So often in the major steeplechase race like this, it's set up very well through the first half, and then when the pacemakers drop by the wayside, so they tend to start watching each other, and the sub-8-minute performances are still very few and far between, Stuart. I'd be surprised if we see one here tonight, despite, as you pointed out, pacemakers planning to lay down a sub-8-minute pace.
It's a very big field, and those that want to do that fast time will want to get out there. They'll want to get out and do some damage early on, and the rest will race. But I have a feeling this may develop into a race in the end. The two Langats there, Koech from Kemboy, Kipyego, all there in that leading group. Matilong is there, as one would expect at this early stage. We'll see how it settles down. The pacemakers are way out in front.
Blanka Vlasic then opened at 1:85. Here she goes at 1:90. Two athletes clear so far, Shkolina of Russia and Shante Howard at this particular height. It certainly shouldn't trouble the Croat. And it doesn't, no, just what you'd expect from an athlete who's cleared such monstrous heights on a consistent basis. She's a 2:08 performer, 1:90 for Vlasic, no trouble at all there. So 3 athletes clear, but interestingly, Emegren, Ruth Petia of Spain, Dusanova of Uzbekistan, and just looking, those 3 all with one failure at 1:90.
Well, someone's not told the pacemakers that the rest don't want pace and they want to race, because at the end of the day, it's Matilong, I think, yes it is, that's taking on, but the pacemakers are way out in front. Ezekiel Kemboy is in second place in the race proper. Koech is behind him in third. Then just looking down the field, Rober of Ethiopia is there. Not a great deal of form for him, 8:11. So the pacemakers are now, what, Tim, 40 meters ahead?
Well, they are, yes, and it looks a bit absurd, doesn't it, when you know they're both going to drop out. You hope they're both going to drop out. They are running to an agreed schedule, but frankly, you do have to be able to think on your feet as a pacemaker. It doesn't matter if it's a major marathon, major city marathon, or in a track race like this. Building up a lead of more than about 5 or 8 meters really starts to dilute your worth, and they're pointless out there, 30, 40 meters ahead.
Well, they were looking for 2:38. If they've been asked to do that, then they're not going to be too far away from that. It's a bit quick, isn't it? 2:35. Well, that is too quick. That's 3 seconds faster than they want. Matalong is leading the trailing group. Just a word again about him, the World Championship silver medalist, the bronze medalist in the Olympic Games. Got a best of just fractionally outside 8 minutes indeed, except that race in 2008. Back to the high jump.
Ruth Beitier then. One failure for the Spaniard so far at 190. Again, she's capable of popping over this without too much trouble, and does there, and that's what you'd expect from Beitier. So, first time clearance at 180 and 185. Then that sequence temporarily interrupted. But she marches on, the Spaniard. She's a 202 jumper, a season's best 195, so she's not hitting the big heights just yet, but she's the Spanish record holder, and that's looking better.
Well, this is a bit of a nonsense in terms of pace, it really is, and the Langats are way out, and it's become a race now. Forget the pacemakers, we're not interested in them. Koech is there, Kiplagat has come forward into the leading group. You can see Kemboy there, and the rest, well, the rest will race it out. There's no question about that. But remember, the pace at the 1,000 was 3 seconds out of what they asked for, and that was terrifically fast.
Well, it's a good point, Stuart, you make, because frankly, the field were probably about 5 seconds down, and yet the pacemakers were 3 seconds up on what they should have been. And had they been running at a more sensible pace, this does confirm, of course, that it's been poor pacemaking tonight. Had they been running at a more sensible pace, something closer to what they'd been required, then perhaps the field would have gone with them. But so fast were they over the first 2 or 3 laps that the field went, no, you have it, boys, off you go, we're just going to race around. And I suppose in a way this is quite refreshing. You know, we get too used perhaps to paced races where we're looking for quick times all the time, and the world record are on people's lips far too often. Let's concentrate on the competition going back there, not ideally on this pacemaker who comes through below us with 3 laps to go and with about 60 metres on the main pack. There they are, that's the race.
Well, we'll get a good look at 2,000 metres shortly. But certainly Kiplagat's leading. Kemboy's in second place at the moment, but it's really just a matter of positioning themselves at this stage. Rober is there.
Well, that's the pacemaker, and of course Langat as just looking across at them on the back straight now, about 65, 70 metres lead on the field. It's I don't think he's going to do one of those acts where he runs away from the field.
Well, 5:23, outside 5:23. The pacemaking, we don't have to tell you, has gone terribly wrong. And that's way out. So this is a true run race. There's no question about that. And it's going to be a good one by the look of it.
Well, the first kilometre was 2:35. The second kilometre, 2:47. It's a pretty awful pacemaking, I have to say. 5:23 at 2,000 metres for the pacemaker would have given, if he'd had the pack with him, would have given them a shot at 8 minutes with an acceleration in the final kilometre. But there's no way now. These guys are just running hard with 2 laps to go and some good racing to come, hopefully, from that pack of 6 or 7 strong at the front. Forget the pacemaker top left of picture.
Well, certainly Paul Koech has taken this on. He's leading, and the world champion, the man who holds the meeting record at 7:58 plus, is in second place. And Matalong now moving. That looks like Matalong moving to third place. That looks like Rober too, the Ethiopian, in that leading group. It is in fact Rober. Matalong it is. So Koech, Matalong, Rober. I think that's Kiplagat in there as well. No, it isn't. I'll bring you up to date on that in a moment. Now they're now starting to really motor. Koech has really put the pedal down. Kemboy is now in second place in the race.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stuart, Langat's coming through. There you can see, right of picture, is about a 15-metre lead. He goes through in 7:04.5. Clearly, he plans to finish the race. The rest of them chasing hard now. I'm sure he's going to be swallowed up by 3 or 4 of those guys at least. But he's giving himself a go here. It's a kind of underhand way of taking a race were he to win it. Now, it's not one I approve of, I have to say. In marathon running, the same principle applies. If you stand on the start line as a pacemaker, I think you have an obligation to drop out.
Well, Ezekiel Kemboy has taken it on at the moment. Koech in second place, Matalong in third place, going past the pacemaker now, just over 200 metres to go. And this man, Ezekiel Kemboy, he's such a good athlete indeed, with the Olympic champion, world champion. He won the Olympic title in 2004, 3 World Championship silvers, part of a domination of steeplechase running by the Kenyans, that's for sure. Looks like Rober's coming through into, in fact, it's Langat, still the pacemaker, ahead of Mattel, and Lang, the pacemaker, could end up third here. Kemboy from Koech, and Langat, the pacemaker, finishes the race in third place. Extraordinary, it really was. Then Matalong, then Rober, and the time 8:06:28. What a strange race.
Bizarre, absolutely bizarre, and all credit to the guys there, those steeplechasers, for producing a winning time of 8:06 after a pacemaking that was woefully inadequate. And ironic too that Langat, one of the pacemakers, should rally through the last 600 metres or so and hang on for third spot. It's not something I approve of. It's something I think that needs looking at. If you're going to stand on the start line as a pacemaker, then that is your status, and you have an obligation, a moral obligation, to drop out. Clearly the rest of the field let those 2 pacemakers go early in the race and through the midsection of the race in the belief that they were not actually involved in racing for the line, for the money, for the Diamond League points. But that wasn't the case, and it does need looking at.
Well, Ezekiel Kemboy, very, very fine run indeed. He was always in the right place at the right time, and once again he seals another fine victory. But Koech did well, didn't he? In second place there. Lang had a little smile though, after all we've said, but my goodness me, strange one that.
Well, the field events continue on the infield. The high jump bar now at 1:94 will bring you the main protagonists' attempts at that one. Blanka Vlasic to jump very shortly. The men's triple jump also underway. And of course, who could forget that world record at the World Indoor Championships here a couple of months ago by the Frenchman Teddy Tamgo. It was in the penultimate jump of the competition, the penultimate action of the entire championships here in Doha's Aspire Dome, because it was the last event in the programme. But Tamgo, although he tops the world rankings overall, not here tonight, yet to open his outdoor campaign. I think he's still in shock.
Well, I certainly think he is. The lead at the moment is held by this fella, and we're looking back at this. I've already given you the distance for this, Betanzas. If that caption is right, this could be the second round jump that takes him into the lead. There was a no jump in the first round. That was plus 1.9 metres per second. They're in the same direction as the sprinters, incidentally. Betanzas is, he has got a pedigree that certainly, he's got a very, very good personal best at 17 metres and 69. That's this season indoors, incidentally, so he's in very good place. It's better than his outdoor performance of 17.65. Well, he's not on our runway, so this definitely is the second of his jumps. Good control, very good rhythm. This is a rhythmic event. Good use of the arms in the middle phase. Mustn't do too much off phase 1. Get into the second phase, relax in the shoulders. Have a look at this. Double arm shift in the middle. That means both arms coming through. Good leg shoot at the end. And he's just over 17 metres. I think that's the 17.08 metre jump that I reported on some time ago. So there it is. That's the one. Capello, incidentally, is in second place, the Cuban, with 17.02, so we may get a shot of that. Giralt it is, in fact. His name's spelt in several different ways on the start list, but I always know him as Giralt. And David Giralt is about to start the third round, or finish the third round of this competition. There are only 4 rounds, and I'm just wondering whether they've reversed the order on this third round. I'll soon be able to tell you in a moment when I get to grips with the computer here. That looked like a red flag to me. Oh no, it's got a white flag. Looked very, very close. I think they may well have reversed the order. in this. Yes, they've reversed the order. There are 4 rounds, and after the first 2, they've reversed the order by the look of it, because they're coming up on our computer in reverse. Normally, it would be after, with the 6 rounds, they would reverse after round 3, and then they'd reverse after round 5, but this is slightly different. There's the result of the 3,000-metre steeplechase. Kemboy from Koech, from Langat the pacemaker, from Matalong. 8:06.28, a world-leading time. There are the rest, right the way down to the athlete from Qatar. There are the points, Kemboy, Koech and Langat. And the point you were making about the pacemaker being in the points is extraordinary.
Well, it just doesn't feel right. Would you let somebody you thought you were racing against get 60 or 70 metres ahead of you under normal circumstances? The next event of the track, women's 1,500 metres, and a very, very strong lineup in this one yet again. I'm sure the world's fastest time this year will go. It's only 4:08 by Jenny Barringer of the USA. That was a couple of weeks ago. Steph Twell goes in this one. Twell, the world junior champion back in 2008 over this distance, former European junior cross-country champion as well, was saying to me this morning she's had her best ever winter under the tutelage of mixed woods, running up to about 85 miles a week. There is, though, Mariam Yusuf Jamal of Bahrain, the former Ethiopian, world champion last year in Berlin, where she retained her title from Osaka in 2007. She's fast, she's strong, she's got great speed, endurance. Look out for Colette Burker there, the world indoor champion from 2 years ago in Valencia. Langat, Nancy Jebet Langat, the Olympic champion from Beijing. What a surprise that was. She's never broken 4 minutes yet, and her quickest time remains that winning time at the Olympic Games. There's Steph Twell. Finished her finals at St Mary's College in southwest London just a few days ago. Full of smiles, can hardly stop smiling since yesterday and today when I've been talking to her. Great to just have all that behind you. Balete too, an athlete to watch, 16th at the World Cross Country this year, 4:04 last year for 1,500 metres. Makestad, who's been in good form, the Norwegian, wintered very well, 3 Norwegian records at 1,500 metres indoors. Hindeheba of France, the 31-year-old, not yet broken 4 minutes, but holds the French record from 2005. The pacemaker will be Tamara Tverdostup of the Ukraine, targeted with 63.5 at 400 and 2:07 at 1,500 metres. If she can stay with that pace and they can stay with her, then this could be very quick here tonight. The wind's still quite strong over on the back straight. They should be striding into it now, but let's hope the pacemaking is competent in this event at least. Tverdostup just makes her way to the front. Better known as an 800-metre athlete. She's actually quite reasonable at 400 metres, 55-second runner at 400 metres. Burker, that is, who slots into second place in the purple strip. Jamal in third. Just looking for Steph Twell. She's second from the back at the moment. I suspect that if they do go out and anything like 63 seconds, that Twell's best tactic is to be a couple of seconds down on the front end of this group. And they go through there. Well, in around 45 and a half, 46 seconds in front of us at 300 metres. That roaring you can hear, and I hope it's not drowning us out, is because of a crowd of, what, a couple of thousand Ethiopians, which are about 20, 30, 40 metres over to our right. And they have been roaring, not just for the last couple of minutes, but for about the last 2 hours. 62.75 at 400 metres. It's quick. Tverdostup about 4 or 5 metres up on the pack, so that's pretty good pacemaking. The main protagonist will have gone through Stuart, I guess, in around 63.2, something like that.
Yes, indeed, and when you look at some of these athletes, Burker in particular has got the distance behind her. She can run 3,000, she can run very, very quickly over the longer distances. This is a very, very good pace indeed. Just looking at, there's Langat of Kenya in there, the Olympic champion. Also in there, looking very, very ominous. It's still very early days, and Steph Twell is there, or there. She's right at the very back of the field.
Well, Langat is on the inside in about 6th place, badly boxed at the moment. Tverdostup goes through below us in 1:55. That was a slow lap, around 70 seconds that lap from Tverdostup. And certainly on the inside there, it's Burka, diminutive Ethiopian, the 24-year-old who has such enormous strength and speed, good combination of qualities. Kibiwot, that is in third place. In second in the pack there, the tall figure with the ponytail in the light blue. And Jamal remains at the front, just on the outside in fourth place in purple. She's a little bit boxed at the moment, just behind Jelagat was there. But Jamal well positioned at the moment as they go through with 600 metres to run. Tverdelstrup's done a reasonable job here. Really needs to step aside now. She's got the pack with her. They're still all there. Steph 12 just hanging around towards the back of the group. And they come into the straight now, and still controlling things, as she has done from early on, is Burka. And she's going to be a tough one to beat when she's at the front line. There's Dibaba moving down the outside. Langat on the inside in red. Kibiwat on the inside in fourth place. 400 metres to run. About 3 minutes, 3:01 at the bell there as they go into the final lap. It's still anybody's race, beginning to reduce to single file. But Burka's run a very, very smart first 1,200 metres here. Don't forget, she's an 8:25 3,000 metre runner. 14:31 for 5,000. If this comes down to strength, which it may well do because it's not been slow, then Burka, well, I think my money might well be on her. Down the outside there, moving strongly. I think that was Hilali. But Burka now kicks again going into the final bend, and it's Langat right behind her, the Olympic champion. Only 2:10 for 800 metres this year from Langat. But they come off the final bend, and it's Burka and Langat who kicked away from the rest of the field. And Jamal, the world champion, having a nightmare. She's back in about 8th or 9th place, some 40 metres down. Forget her. And it's Langat, the Olympic champion, former world junior champion 800 metres, who has the strength to beat Burka there. They're 20 metres up on third place. Great running, and the winning time, 4:01.64, the fastest time in the world this year by a big, big margin. Wonderful stuff. In third place there was Hilali. I think she's broached new ground as well there. We'll wait for those times to come through. But what a smartly run race from Langat. She didn't get too involved in the first half, just hanging around in about 6th or 7th place, and then gradually moved up through the third quarter of the race and onto the shoulder of the leader with 200 to go, and kicked away down the home straight. Textbook middle distance running there from Nancy Jabet Langat, the 28-year-old Kenyan. The Olympic champion kicks off this Diamond League season with a really wonderful piece of tactical running. Well, it's a new meeting record by some 3.5 seconds. It's the fastest time in the world this year.
A little bit of pushing there, as you can see. One of the Dibaba sisters being pushed out wide. The point you made about Jamal, she was really struggling. I didn't expect to see that. I was looking for her down in the pack, and she really struggled. And young Steph 12 found this a very, very tough encounter. And in fact, I didn't see her finish. She got well beaten here. The temperature very, very hot. It's well over 30 degrees still. But Langat, the Olympic champion, showed real class. She's a competitor. She knows how to run races, and the point you made about the tactical approach to this race, absolutely perfect. Burka did most of the early pressure running, and Langat, in the end, took the title. Well, the Javelin is also a very fine competition indeed. And when we look at, we've got the Olympic champion, we've got world champion, we've got everyone here really, and it's going to be an absolute cracker. Spotakova of the Czech Republic, that's not her incidentally, she is taking her first competition here. Spotakova, the Czech Republic. Nereus isn't here incidentally. I may have given Spotakova her championship. Spotakova world champion 2007, but silver medalist in 2009. She was beaten actually by Nereus. Just in the warm-up stage at the moment.
Confirmation of the winning time for Nancy Langat.
In fact, that is, I'm just looking across, and
the Kenyan ran 4:01.63 for a world leading time and a meeting record. Second place was
oh, in fact, it's been going on for a while. I must admit, we've been sitting here watching these steeplechases, and the Javelin. Let's bring you up to date with what's happening in that at the moment. Spotakova, 65 meters 60, lead by Ratej of Slovenia at 67.16 at the moment. There she is on the right with that purple top. We're just getting the first shots actually of that competition. That's what confused us a little. But certainly the Javelin the third round. So I'm sorry about giving you that false information. And the high jump is at 1.98 meters at the moment. This is Ruth Bader. Personal best of 2:02, incidentally. She's gone from the competition. That was her third attempt at 1.98, incidentally. Just looking at the high jump, Vlasic has got 1.98 at her second attempt. So has Shanti Howard. But they're the only two clear at this height, and the rest have gone, incidentally, out of the competition. So it's very, very quickly gone to a conclusion in a way. The men's 100 meters then, next up. There it is, Ray Edwards, Travis Paget, Michael Frater, Saiden Dury, Liron Clark, Asafa Powell, Nesta Carter and Simon Collio. And what a first round it proved to be. We didn't get much out of it except a 9.75 time from Asafa Powell. Edwards, drawn on the inside, semi-finalist in the World Championships last year from the United States. Best of 10.02, 10.26 on the season, incidentally. He's in lane 1. Paget, that's Travis Paget, winner of this event last year in 10 flat in lane number 2. Michael Frater, former world champion. Frater, semi-finalist last year in the World Championship, still around. 9.97 Frater ran in the heat, incidentally. Saiden Dury of Norway, he's next up. Winner here in 2008. Well, Nesta Clark ran well. In fact, coming into this competition, he was top of the competitors in terms of time, 10.09, but of course all that has gone now. This is the start of the real business end. Interesting gloves there. Well, the big man, Asafa Powell, has been found wanting in championships. Let's be quite honest about that. And he's run much better since Usain Bolt has come onto the scene. When the real responsibility has not been with him, then he's begun to perform. One has to say that, because he hasn't done as well as his times suggested he might. But with Usain Bolt now, he's lost his chance, really. Nesta Carter. Well, Nesta Carter's part of the Olympic 4x1 team in Beijing. Simon Collio, 10.06 his personal best outdoors. Got to the quarter-final of the Olympics and didn't get through the heats in the World Championships. So this is the final of the 100 meters. Edwards of the United States in 1. Paget, USA 2. Frater, Jamaica 3. Saiden Dury, Norway 4. Clark, Jamaica 5. Powell, Jamaica 6. Carter, Jamaica 7. Collio, Italy in lane 8. The depth of Jamaican sprinting without Usain Bolt. 9.72 is best, but world record 4 times in a period of time did this fella. He's at Collio. We'll have to watch for him in the European Championships this year. So the starter calling him forward. Being held up for the moment.
I'm not sure what the problem was there, Stuart. There's still quite a lot of noise in the arena. Next event after this will be the men's 5,000 metres. Then that women's 400 metres will round off the programme here in Doha. Conditions, now, well, it has settled a little bit, Stuart, but there's still a fair bit of breeze over there at the far end.
You may have seen a green card raised there. Now, a green card, remember there's 1 false start in sprints, but a green card indicates that it was a technical offence, not the fault of the athlete. So the athlete's not penalised in any way. But remember now, 1 false start and you're out. It's pretty severe if you get it wrong. Edwards, Paget, Frater, Saiden Dury, Clark, Powell, Carter, Collio. The final of the men's 100 metres. Well, certainly Powell didn't get away very well indeed, and outside him, Lerone Clark going very strongly. Here comes Asafa Powell through the middle, and also Paget on the far side. Powell comes through, followed on the near side by Nesta Carter, and the time 9.80, just a little bit slower than he ran in the heat, but plus 2.3 meters per second, which means for newcomers to the sport, that's not there for record purposes. It could be a championship best or a meeting best, but it can't be a record because it's 0.3 of a second above what is allowable for record purposes, and that's the situation that Asafa Powell has just recognised. He didn't get away well, Tim, here. He lost the time on the start, very poorly away.
I don't know what was going on in his head, because look, he's even running on the line there. He's outside his lane, he's all over the place. Dreadful start from Powell. I guess in these early season races, you're entitled to be ironing out the technical glitches, but gosh, he's had glorious weather down there in Jamaica to train under for several months, and you'd thought he might start a bit better than that, especially when it's his second start of the evening. Whether or not he was just a little bit too relaxed, he knew he'd got that sort of feel in the palm of his hand, I'm not sure. There was a sort of nonchalance and a swagger to the way he crossed the line there, and he doesn't look too bothered, but technically I suspect his coach will have a little word with him about that one.
Well, there is a laid-back approach with the Jamaicans. They'll be hearing, I was talking to Christina Horogu, who's been over in Jamaica, says that they train very hard, but it's a much more relaxed approach. But let's have another look at this. Look how he's left, absolutely left for dead by Lerone Clark of the other Jamaican, and inside him the small diminutive figure. And the second lane there, Travis Paget of the United States comes through very strongly. On the near side, Nesta Carter as well. So I think they were the three, but no doubt about the winner in the end, but that was a struggle. You can go out of your lane, but you can't interfere with the athlete next to you. You can't go out of your lane on a bend if it's the inside, but on the straightaway they don't worry about it, and nor should they. Easing through the finish.
Collio, the Italian, pulling up injured. Let's hope it was just cramp very early on there, only about 20 meters into the race. You can't see him in these shots, but he was over in lane 8, and maybe the heat here, the extreme heat, I have to say, getting to him. It's not got any indications, but it feels like about 30, 32 degrees at the moment, even with a slight breeze. Just looking on results sheets, I can't see a temperature, but believe me, very, very hot and very humid too here in Doha. Back to this high jump competition, and well,
Shanti Howard actually just coming up. We had Vlasic on the screen, but there's her series look. It's a second attempt at 2 meters and 1, Tim. She's cleared 198 on the second attempt.
Howard then, bit of a resurgence in her career. Oh no, not tonight though, not on that effort. Second failure there for Howard. Count back, of course, lying in second place, as Stuart said, Vlasic. That second clearance at 198. They are jumping in gusty conditions, no doubt about that. You can't have a stiff wind at one end of the stadium and it not affect performances at the other. Second attempt for Vlasic at 2:01. Now, will this be the season? Many people are wondering where at last she nails that world record. She's the second highest jumper in history, but for 2 or 3 years now, she's looked capable of it, and it's just stayed elusively out of reach. That's world record.
Well, I commentated on it, Tim. Konstantinova all those years ago, 2:09, and this young woman has attempted 2:10 on many occasions this season. She's got a best outdoors, a national record, of course, at 2 meters and 8. In the past, she's been criticised a little bit, particularly in that Olympic year when she came in and she had so many competitions and lost to Halibo of Belgium. That was a big surprise in the Olympic final, if you remember. And when you get up to record heights and championship heights and the like, then they start really measuring the center of that bar with some accuracy.
Well, she's having to wait patiently. At least there's no issues around cooling down and stiffening up in these temperatures.
She's rehearsing the approach. You can see her eyes when she looks, she bends over, that's the turn. She goes on the arc, leans away, the inside knee will drive up, and then the arch of the back will clear, and then those legs have to be thrown away. It's an event called the Fosbury Flop.
The lineup for the men's 5,000 metres then, 12.5 laps of the track, the longest discipline in the Diamond League Series. And what a field it is. 8 men in this lineup have broken 13 minutes, the fastest time in the world, 13:09. And there was discussion in the hotel this morning as we see this field going through rather quickly. Daniel Kipchirchir-Komen, incidentally, a very interesting entrant, the 25-year-old Kenyan, better known as a 1,500-metre man. There was talk in the hotel this morning of making this race at 3,000 instead of a 5,000, but the consensus of opinion was they wanted to stick to 5,000 metres.
Here we go with Vlasic. Oh, ooh, looked as though she'd got clear. But she's the sort of athlete that can get on the third attempt, but we'll come back to that, I'm sure. She's got one more attempt left at this height.
Well, Simotwo is one of the pacemakers. He's hoping to take through 3,000 metres in 7:45. Joseph Buja. Well, this man, the world cross-country champion from Bydgoszcz in Poland back in March. And he ran 12:51 in Brussels 3 years ago, so not an athlete to be sniffed at. Rashed of Qatar, the 23-year-old, formerly Daniel Kipkoskei, like many athletes running for the Gulf state nations. He's a former Kenyan. Eliud Kipchoge, world champion back in 2003. One of the fastest men in history with a time of 12:46 to his name. Merger, watch him too, Imane Merger, the 21-year-old Ethiopian. 4th at the 10,000 metres last summer in Berlin at those World Championships. I don't think we'll see any teamwork here from the Ethiopians. The Eritrean there, Emmanuel Mezel, only 19. Has only run 13:25. He could find this tough going tonight. Well, away they go. World lead, as I said, 13:09. That's by Josephat Dambiri in Japan, actually, on the 3rd of this month, just 10 days or so ago. So they're looking to be lapping here on around 62 seconds per lap. That would take them through 3,000 in 7:45. My feeling is it's quite a tall order at this early stage of the season, but we'll have to wait and see.
So Blanka Vlasic very quickly out to take her 3rd attempt at 2:01. She's won the competition, and all that because of the number of failures. Shaunti Howard took 3 attempts at 1:94. They both had a 2nd attempt success at 1:98. But that little hiccup for Shaunti Howard at 1:94 has lost her 2nd place. 3rd place, Ruth Bader. We saw her a little earlier on. She cleared 1:94. So this could be the last jump of the competition. I'd be surprised, though, because really Vlasic is worth so much more than this. 2:01. No. That will be disappointing. Now, that is disappointing, not only for her, but for the crowd, because she's with 2:08 as a best, and she's always so consistent around about 2:05, but she's gone. But she's won the competition. There you've got it. The 2nd time clearance at 1:98, good enough to give her the title, the vault. Spiegelberg of Germany is next up. At 4:70 meters. There's the series, passed at 4:65, so a little bit of tactics coming in here. And if you're just joining us, then you would have expected Isambayeva to be involved. Just to repeat what I said earlier.
Back to this 5,000 metres then, Kipchoge in 3rd place, behind the 2 pacemakers, Bergen and Simotwo. The pacemakers, I have to say, very much under scrutiny here again. The first lap was under 60 seconds. They went through 600 metres in 1:29. Way too quick. And Kipchoge there, right behind them in the purple strip in 3rd place, may pay for that. Abere Kuma in 4th place. Abuya, the world cross-country champion, the tall figure there, in about 6th place. 1,000 metres in 2:31. Well, it is indeed a little bit too quick, although that lap to bring them up to 1,000 metres of outside 62 seconds has brought it back onto something like a more normal schedule. It's still too quick, but it's not a great way to run a race either.
Just bring you up to date with the result of that men's 100 metres. Powell 9:81, Nesta Carter 9:88, Travis Paget 9:92 in 3rd place. So there are the points for them. So but that time rounded up by 1/100th of a second. Well, Safapal. Not a bad start to the season, though. The world records are down sub 9.6. It's all changed in the 100 metres.
Well, still a big pack here, despite this pretty healthy tempo. It will start withering, though. They will start dropping back. It's Bergen who leads from Simotwo. But then in third place, the diminutive figure of Abdosh, Ali Abdosh, who is just one of this group of Kenyans who have gone under 13 minutes. A 12.56 athlete is Abdosh, 27.09 for 10,000 metres last two. He's a tiny figure. There he is in third place. Kipchoge in fourth. He's got that lovely smooth style of his with quite high arms. But gradually reducing single file now, because this pace will take its toll, no doubt about that. That's 4 laps they've just gone through in there in 4:04. That's more or less a mile they've gone through in about 4:05. It's a very, very quick running indeed, and it is indeed taking its toll. They're stringing out, aren't they, towards the back of the group, 1 or 2, who started with real determination and grit, beginning to have to let go already. Abdosh has now dropped back. It's Kipchoge in third, Abere Kuma, and then Chepkok on the inside there in that blue strip, and down the outside there, making a strong move in the red vest. I think that's Bekele. Yes, it is indeed. The younger brother of Kenenisa Bekele, Tariku Bekele. For
Back him over then in the javelin, just breaking away from that 5,000 metres at the moment. Bakumova of Russia. Just looking at her performances thus far. Not making an impact on the competition thus far. She was quite pleased with that, actually. Let's just have a look and see what that comes up as. That's a longish throw, isn't it? We're not sure. Maria Akabmova of Russia. That's a big throw. I'll bring you up to date with that in a moment. A very big throw indeed.
Well, they've gone through 2,000 metres in 5:05 in this race. That's second kilometre, 2:34 after a 2:31 opener. Interesting athlete to watch here is Daniel Kipchirchir Komen, who's in about 5th place. He's just moving through as Komen as they go through with 6 laps gone. Down the back straight, it's now Simotwo who leads. Kipchoge in 2nd place. Tariku Bekele, the younger brother of Kenenisa Bekele, who is rapidly becoming the greatest distance runner ever. I think that title is still held by one Haile Gebrselassie, but he's not far behind. He does, of course, hold the world records at 5,000 and 10,000. And it's tough being the younger brother of a world record holder, but he's making a pretty decent job of creating a name for himself, is Tariku Bekele. He's in third there in that orange vest. 6 laps to go now as they come down below us, and we're down to 10 men easing away, and it's still a healthy tempo.
Well, whilst you just take a break from that, Geralt in the triple jump next. Just looking back at this. And that's way over 17 metres for Geralt. And that's a very, very good jump indeed. It's about time we got the big 17-metre pluses. Just have another look at it. That's in slow motion. Good technician though, Geralt. Lovely hang at the end. 17 metres and 29, I think that is. 17:29. And Capello next to come. Now Capello has a best of 17 metres and 8. Alexis Capello. Now then, what can he do? World Championship bronze medals, good middle phase, look control. Oh, and that looks better. I tell you what, that's a good jump. His season's best is 17:28, which is close to that 17:29 of Girault, and that looked very, very good indeed. Lovely controls, look at the relaxation, beautiful bounce, great strength-weight ratio into the 3 phases of that technique. Now then, he's got 17:29 to beat. Now then, has he done it? Well, I can tell you off pictures that he has, and there it is. Well, that came up quickly. 17:47. I knew it was a long way. Girault 17:29. Betanzos 17:22 in third. That's a very good start to world-leading performance.
It's changed in the 5,000. We had a group of 10 in the space of 600 meters. It's broken down to 3, and it's Kipchoge who leads for Kenya from Tariku Bekele. And then in third place, it's Chepkok as well in the light blue, who has eased away with this pairing. In fourth is an interesting athlete, a man who I don't know at all well, Boujatawi of Morocco. He's a 13:09 man, but he's heading for something much, much quicker here tonight if he can stay with this. He's isolated their centre of shot. They went through 3,000, wait for it, in 7:40.11. It's really quick. They had a 60-second lap to go through to 7 laps and push on through 3,000. So there's been some very aggressive running through this last 2 or 3 laps. And now it's Chepkok who takes his turn at the front. Tariku Bekele in third there, in the orange vest, just dogging the heels of the 2 Kenyans, whichever one of them leads. Boujatawi of Morocco, flailing arms either side. I'm not sure who that was there, dropped by the wayside, maybe one of the pacemakers. 3 laps to go. Kipchoge, who always looks so controlled, he's such an elegant runner in the black strip in the middle of this trio, or the purple and black strip I should say. Looks very comfortable to me. Bekele there in the orange to the right, just dropping his arm as they come up towards the 4,000 metre point at the end of this back straight. They've got about 20 metres on Boujatawi. He's got to try and work hard. They're very, very tough for the Moroccan in this sort of situation. If he can, he's just hoping upon hope that one of them will ease back and drop away from the other 2. They go through 4,000 metres there. 2:39.11, by far the slowest kilometre of the race, in 10:19 at 4K. So they're gathering themselves here for the final surge somewhere in the final couple of laps. Well, and as I say that, so Bekele's dropped out, just looking now. Bekele's gone, oh my word. Cramp may be getting to the Ethiopian. They're not used to this humidity in Ethiopia. Yes, it's hot, but it's high altitude and it's a dry heat. And Bekele is gone, that's a real surprise. 2 laps to go and it's down to 2 men. The Kenyans, Kipchoge and Chepkok. Vincent Chepkok, the 21-year-old, is a 12:55 man. He was third in Brussels last year, right at the end of the summer when he produced that time. He had a wonderful year in 2009, twice under 13 minutes during his campaign, and he was a World Championship finalist to boot. He finished 12th in Berlin at 5,000. But Kipchoge here, Stuart, is the master performer. He's the man you would expect to be in charge here. Certainly holds the psychological strong cards here, just Kipchoge, but Chepkok matching him stride for stride with just under a lap and a half to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle this, won't it?
Well, Kipchoge knows all about great running as a youngster. He lifted the world title back in 2003 as a 19-year-old in Paris in that wonderful Stade de France. And they come down now with 1 lap to run, and there's a big, big gap behind them back to Boujatawi of Morocco. They go through there in 11:53. It's going to be quick. It's going to be way under 13 minutes. The fastest time in the world this year is going to be beaten by some 15 seconds or so. Remember, it stands at 13:09 to Dambiri of Kenya in Japan from a couple of weeks ago. Boujatawi in third place, Merga in fourth, Rashid in fifth. The early tempo really has decimated the main part of the field through this final quarter of the race. But we do indeed have a race in our hands. 200 metres to run. Kipchoge there, still looking smooth, still looking very much in control. Doesn't look yet like he's really turned on the burners. Chepkok, the head beginning to rock a little bit. Has he got the legs? 2 metres is the gap. 120 to run. And as they come round into the straight, neither of them has really yet given it everything. I don't know if this is pre-arranged or not, but Chepkok's beginning to look now like he's working to attack Kipchoge, who grits his teeth, stays 2 metres clear, comes through in 12:51.22. It's about 58 seconds for the final lap. Fabulously quick time in sweltering hot conditions here. And Bojatoui, the poor Moroccan, just loses out on third place there as they come through the line. He's passed about 50 metres out by Merga, who grabs third. Bojatoui of Morocco takes fourth, and in fifth place there is Rached in around 13:12. Well, those two, with the quality of that competition out in front, with the disappointment of Bekele not to be forgotten, dropping out with a couple of laps to go with cramp. The quality of that competition driving them on to a tremendously quick time, the fastest time in the world this year, 12:51, by a long, long way. And indeed, for Kipchoge, well, it's a time that is some 5 seconds outside his personal best, but his second fastest time ever. What a run. And he did look in control. Masterful performance from Kipchoge, confirming what great form he's in. Of course, for the Kenyans, with the Commonwealth Games in October, way ahead in the future. It's the African Championships that they're focusing upon. It will be at the Moi Stadium in Nairobi, just outside Nairobi, in July. That's the main objective for them. But this is that leading duo, heading off with 200 metres to run, and Kipchoge is rarely beaten in this sort of situation. You need a Kenenisa Bekele or somebody of that sort of calibre to better Augustin Kipchoge, Eliud Kipchoge, excuse me. So the Olympic silver medalist from 2008, former world champion, bests the entire field here tonight. Exclusively African field, Ethiopians, Eritreans, Moroccans, former Kenyans like Nicholas Kemboi running tonight in the 4-kata. Wasn't too sure about it, was he? All credit to Chepkok there, who has come through with a big new personal best. His time confirmed at 12:51.45, 0.3 of a second down on Kipchoge. In third place, Merga of Ethiopia, 13:05 his time. Well, Langat there winning though 1,500 metres in 4:01.63 in the colours of Kenya, or almost in the colours of Kenya. The Olympic champion in very good shape indeed. Said she enjoyed that one. Steph 12:4:06 in her first track race of the summer. I think she can be pretty pleased with that one, although she looked some way down, of course, in that sort of context. And the place time's not bad either. The first 9 athletes getting under 4:10.
Well, just another look back at Vlasic. And, that was her clearance that we saw. Remember, the bar was moved then, that's 198. She'd won the competition by virtue of Shanti Howard's 2 or 3 attempts at 194. They were absolutely equal at 198. Both got it on their second attempt. Miss Shanti Howard, she's an American, very tall, and that was her 198 second time clearance. And then 3 failures. That was her second time clearance, wasn't it? Bar just staying on. And very good competition in the end, although it petered out rather rapidly in the end, I have to say that. Well, the javelin competition, absolutely exhilarating, and we haven't seen too much of it, but the competition in the end, it was a competition as we expected between the Olympic champion, between Spotakova and Abukumova, who'd had a season's best of 68.31. Spotakova went at 67.33 in the end, with Abukumova at 68.89. Just to talk over pictures for a while, that should bring you up to date. But this is her first competition of the season, so it was taking on a bit of quite a lot actually. This is Abukumova. Really hits that javelin along its line, and that's what gets it its elevation absolutely perfect, and you can see the 65-67 meter line, very strong indeed. Good competition though.
The world champion is attempting 465. She has one final attempt.
Well, a qualitative competition in a number of disciplines tonight. Higher than I expected, I have to admit. Abukumova amongst them, a world-leading performance there from the Russian to beat Spotakova, the world record holder, with the Czech 67.33, about a metre and a half down. And the Diamond League points, of course, being shared by Bakimova, Sparakova and Ratej of Slovenia. Incidentally, Safa Paul saying that he felt that the gun was a little quick in his 100-metre race, hence his poor start. He said he's very happy with his run, but maybe it's not just the athletes who have to iron out a few cobwebs in these early season meetings. As we see what is a cracking lineup for this final track event of the evening, the women's 400 metres with well, Alison Felix. Are we on the verge, Stuart, of a new event season for her?
Christine Day of Jamaica, last outdoors, 51.54 actually set last season. She's drawn on the inside. It's a tough field, really, running from the inside. World Indoor Champion this season, came here to Doha, so had a very enjoyable time here on the boards. She's in lane 2. World Olympic silver medalist in Beijing. Of course, part of the Jamaican relay squad, Sherika Williams. Alison Felix of the United States moves on from here to Manchester for the City Games on Sunday, one of the big names featured in that programme. And she's got another young woman en route to Manchester after this, Christina Horrigu, the Olympic champion, the world champion from 2007. Been to Jamaica, been to America, been training with the Jamaicans and in Irvine. Sherika Williams, that's Noveline Williams-Mills, I beg your pardon, of Jamaica, in lane 6. 3 World Championship silver medals to that, really. Moncho of Botswana, 8th in the Olympics, 8th in the world, season's best 50.35. And Monica Hargrove right on the outside. So, the women's 400 metres. Christine Day, Debbie Dunn, Sherika Williams, Alison Felix, probably the best all-round sprinter in the world as far as the women are concerned. Christina Horrigu, then Noveline Williams, Amantle Moncho of Botswana, Monica Hargrove of the United States, that's Felix. Terrific at 100, sub-11, 200, sub-22, 400, sub-50. Holds the meeting record here at 49.83. Alison Felix. How will Christina Horrigu go here? She's trained well, she said. A long chat with her yesterday. Starting her season steadily. This is a bit of a baptism, really. Felix. Very much in form at the moment. Christina Horrigu was hardly in the set position when the gun went off. She's been dreadfully left at the start. I'm not sure what happened there. The starter fired the gun before she got underway, before she got into the set position, and Felix is already alongside her now. Alison Felix going well. Inside Felix, Sherika Williams of Jamaica. Debbie Dunn going quite strongly, the world indoor champion. But Felix running very, very strongly indeed. We know that right on the outside, in lane 3, Sherika Williams of Jamaica running very, very strongly indeed as they come into the straight. And Felix, a little bit of work to do, but as the bend unwinds, we shall see. Williams leading, Felix coming very, very strongly. And here comes on the near side, Williams looking very, very strong, and Felix, what a finish from Felix. All of a sudden, from being down a long, long way, just floated through to take it, and take it very comfortably indeed. Noveline Williams-Mills looked as though she was in a strong position, and then over the last 20, 30 metres, all of a sudden, the 400 metre, 200 metre, 100 metre athlete of some consequence came through. But Christina Horrigu, what on earth happened at the start? If we get a look at the start, it's 50.15 world leading time. That was tactically brilliantly done, because she wasn't in it at 300 metres. Now, it was a pity we're not getting the start. Well down here, Tim, at this point. Javelin Williams was running very, very well, wasn't she, from the third lane from the outside, and looked as though she was going to take this, but all of a sudden, as the bend unwound, the rest came through. Christine is way off the pace, and I'm not surprised.
Well, Christine left in the blocks there by that early gun, maybe Asafa Powell. There's something in what he was saying earlier on, but Felix here really just glides past them. She's a beautifully light runner, feet kissing the track there, and wins by a couple of metres and going away. Good running there out in lane 7 from Moncho, with Javelin Williams-Mills just being run down, as has happened before. She loves to commit early, does Javelin Williams-Mills. The Jamaican runs with real guts, but just so often seems to lose out in that last 50 metres or so.
If you remember the World Championships in Osaka in 2007, exactly the same. Looked as though she was going to win it, and the rest came through on her. The rest is history, but you're quite right with that. She looked as though she'd got control of the race, but the momentum of Alison Felix moves on now to Manchester. Let me just repeat that. She's going to the Manchester City Games, and that'll be a good event. There are lots of super athletes there, and the world moves on. Terrific race. And there's the result. Felix 50.15, Moncho 50.34, Williams-Mills 50.5, Christina Horogu 50.88, a season's best, but there's how the points will be decided.
Well, I suspect, Stuart, that that's one of the best seasons openers Christina Horogu's ever had, 50.88, so let's not criticise too much what was a poor start, perhaps. We'll have to find out what she thinks about it later on.
Certainly the pole vault competition still, well, just catching up with that. Like Spiegelberg of Germany, that looks like.
Yes, Spiegelberg of Germany going clear there at 4 metres 70 at the third attempt. It's a world-leading performance. It's a new meeting record, and that for Spiegelberg won the competition. Indeed, she had actually won the competition at the previous height, 4 metres 60. Rogowska, the Polish world champion, sharing third place with the second-time clearance at 4:55. There it is. Fabulous performance from the German Spiegelberg, who might be coming of age this season at last. Congratulations to her, because that's a strong field she's put behind her here tonight.
Well, what an evening we've had. David Rudisha, 1:43 in the 800 metres. Bashawn Jackson, 48.66, the 400-metre hurdles. Lolo Jones coming back from a World Indoor win to win that hurdles. Ezekiel Kemboy in the 3,000-metre steeplechase. Nancy Langat in the 1,500 metres. And Asafa Powell at 9.81. And really, it's been quite an evening. But we move on now to next week to Shanghai on May the 23rd. The Diamond League moves on to there. So I hope you've enjoyed the evening thus far. Lots to celebrate. Alison Felix finishing the programme well. From Tim Hutchings and myself, Stuart Story, goodbye.